Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
What's up, Hits and Grits family? Welcome to a new Season 7 deep dive video on the Lannisters today. And I'm honored to have the Hedgeknight himself with me here on the show today to talk Lannisters, who is, I can spoil that, a great Lannister player. He has won the Canadian Grand Open?
The Great Canadian Open.
Great Canadian Open with peculiar, not so well-known Lannister list. We will talk about that later, but great to have you, man, to talk deep dive on Lannisters.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I'm getting better. I wouldn't say great, but getting better. Yeah. It's an honor to be here. I'm so happy to be here to talk about Lannister Season 7. Some exciting stuff. Even the bad, I think, is good with the Lannisters update. So
true. All right. Let's jump right in. As always, we have the agenda is basically we're talking about the changes, how it reshapes your decision making when constructing armies and do list building. We brought you 2 lists you should bring or try in tournaments now, which is basically fueling the meta right now, or which you should at least practice and take a look out for. We will talk about stuff to counter. What do we need to look out for? What do we need to be afraid of when playing Season 7? And finally, Chris, you brought your a secret combo. Lannister players should probably didn't dig in that much yet, but they should, or they will. So that's the agenda for today, and let's jump right into the changes. We got keep the change. So we have a financial theme today for the show. So keep the change. These are smaller changes we got on the Gold Cloaks and the Lannisport City Watch, and I will just throw it at you. Talk with me about the Lannisport City Watch. What do you feel about them?
In general, I think the easiest way to sum them up is that they're at least something you are looking at now and considering. Whether they slot a play or not, TB, I think everyone probably who's the game regularly would agree that the 6-point melee infantry spot is probably one of the toughest in the game, especially with Lannisters, because you got the crossbows and the brigands, the light cav. So it's a really tough pick in general for 6 points. But what they used to be, I think, was the only time I ever saw it was sometimes in a Gregor list with Gregor Commander in them. But I never played them, and I barely ever saw them. And I think now at least you're looking at them, especially with the new, things like Giants and Rainbow Guard, Kingsguard, stuff like that out there. The precision, which the Lannisters don't. Yeah. Because Lannisters, we don't get precision anywhere except Jaime Commander, he's also not something that sees a lot of action generally. So, no. So, they could have a place now with the Sentinel and the precision. I think the Sentinel precision and obviously the increase on the second rank of dice, these are all really positive things that actually make them something you might consider now. The rerolls is nice when it works, of course, and then the Watchful Eye, I think the jury might still be out. In my limited play with them since the change, I didn't get any use out of that. But it's not a bad thing to have, that's for sure. And the fact that there's no cap on it is great. So something to consider. And I think maybe they could find a place in some lists that are going to be like anti-giant. I know I've been considering them in an anti-giant list for the precision. But they're still hard to pick even then.
Yeah, true. Yeah, on the Gold Cloaks, on the other hand, Gold Cloaks were mainly seen in panic-focused list, Red Cloaks list, double Red Cloaks sometimes, or High Sparrow list with Red Cloaks, stuff like that, like Joffrey on the tactics board, stuff like that. because they have the oppressive peacekeeping while you control crown. They were basically like a moving corpse pile, which was awesome, and they are also able to at least hold up like the charge. And hold up a bit over time. If you put something in there like Barristan Selmy, it's a unit which can be used as a bait, almost, because your opponent thinks, oh well, it's just gold cloaks. I go in there and just kill them, and it won't happen. But now the oppressive peacekeeping got even a bit better, because now we got each time they are targeted by a friendly tactics cards or order. After resolving that card or order, target them, they become weakened. So they throw out a weakened token as well, so that makes them just straight up a bit better. I think the place they have stays the same. Play style stays the same. The spot where they are in list stays the same. So yeah, let's keep the change, and I think it's a good one. Anything to add on the gold cloaks? Anything?
No, I think you summed it up well. I personally did run them in my second list at the Great Canadian Open. I was a triple red cloak build, 8 activation, and they were basically my bunker for the High Sparrow. I also played with them with like Ares Oakheart, because he could just keep them alive, basically. Yeah. So like you send them right up the middle, and then they're the centerpiece that your red cloaks are bombing around. So yeah, it's great. The only thing I'll say is that it is another thing to remember. It's more text on the card, so it's one more thing to have to remember, like, oh, you just did an order in short range of me. Okay, here's a weakened token because I have the crown. But yeah, it is a positive. Yeah, they still have their place in certain lists, and this is just a slight improvement. So great.
Yeah, great to have. So now we talked about the coins. Let's now talk about some bigger builds, the big bucks. So the big bucks, we saw a really good change on the Mountainsmen. So let's tee it off with that one. So they used to be, situational, right? Because they needed ranks to gain the crit blow. Now just crit blow, vicious, just there, straight up there, always. That's good.
Vicious was an 8. They were hitting on 4s. They got +1 to hit and critical blow when they had the same or more ranks. Now that's just built in.
It's just
so, and they already and compared to Lannisport City Watch, again, this is a 6-point melee that actually has a home in Lannister in builds. So it's kind of a knock against the City Watch again, because if you are picking a melee infantry, again, that same list that I'm thinking, where I'm thinking of them for the precision, but is it better than these guys and the combo they can do with like so many commanders like High Sparrow, Kevin, Tywin? They have some, the panic is too good, and the healing is too good, and the attack profile is too good. So they're great, and they still have a home. Absolutely. I'm going to be playing more, I would say. Because whereas before you could make the argument of like, well, they're really good, now it's just like, no, they're really good.
They're just good. My favorite attachment, even though it's a little, it costs a little, but it's actually Ramsay with Reek for 2 points. And I know there's a neutral point limitation and all that kind of stuff. So you might, but I just love doing it, because if he's in there, together with the Prey on Fear and the Fueled by Slaughter, Intimidating Presence, Vicious, all that kind of stuff, and Reek does the panic.
Putting up a panic token.
Exactly. The best thing these guys can do, if something hits them, if they receive a big blow from wherever, the best thing to do is just attack. Just whatever. Do not retreat. Do not think about bags. Just hit. Hit as hard as you can, and you will probably be back pretty soon. And that's my favorite combo.
Healing up to 5 wounds on an attack, pretty good.
pretty good, right? The Gate Warden is also
a lot
great.
of ways to guarantee it. That's an awesome combo. It does make, it's an 8-point combo, but it's a fun one.
It's a fun one, exactly. So hit me with the Lannister Guardsmen. Still on 4 movement, but they gained a little something.
Yeah, so they've got the better attack profile, and they've now got the new ability. So basically, they are going to be a little more offensive now. So I think this is great for them because they already like had a fun home in like supremacy lists, but now with the combination of the Tywin NCU changes that we'll get to, um, and I think that's going to see Tywin becoming more of a played commander. You can have some really fun like all supremacy builds now with them, where
Yeah.
they actually are worthy of the spot and the point commitment, and throw a free 1 point Jamie in there to get the +2 morale and the martial training. Um, and they become a pretty scary 5 point unit, like 3, 3, 5 for 5 points with rerolls, a vulnerable token, a panic token,
Oh
um,
man.
and supremacy. Yeah,
And supremacy.
and supremacy.
Don't forget.
So yeah, they're definitely a unit that I'm dusting off right now, and even considering painting the second one. Although I don't know about, yeah, I'm sure there's
I don't know
some
about
fun
two,
builds
yeah.
too, but yeah, but one is definitely back out, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm already teeing up this supremacy build that Endline, a really great Lannister player here in Canada,
Yeah.
showed me, and looks really scary, really fun, really annoying for our opponents because you can't hit anything without a serious retribution
Yeah, without
immediately. So,
receiving any form of
yeah,
punishment, which
yeah,
is thematically fitting, which fits the Lannister playstyle. So
yeah.
I'm totally in on it.
You want to be sure you're gonna kill a rank or two if you're gonna attack.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah. So these
So
were
yeah,
the
I think
big unit
that's great.
changes. Even though we didn't like Lannisters didn't get as much as like Baratheons, for example, on the units, but these are really exciting ones, and they will change up list building most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing bad happened to us, which the Lannisters, we just, yeah,
Well, a
nothing bad.
little bit, but let's talk about that later. Just a little
Sorry,
bit, but
to
that
the
was
units.
highly
I
needed,
meant,
and
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I meant to the units, to the
To
units.
the units, to the units.
To
Okay,
the
so
units.
now let's talk stock portfolio, right? So we talked
Yeah,
about the coin change, some builds, and now stock portfolio. These guys are still in your stock portfolio. These are your ETFs to keep. Casterly Rock Honor Guard always been. Let's keep it short. Great unit since the change in what was it, season 5 or 6, I can't remember, but great change to them since they got changed. They still have, they can choose one for every condition token is out there, they can choose another. So now they are not way better, I would say, than before. They play the same, but in my point of view, they are way more flexible. They can adapt better because
yeah,
normally they used to just shut down abilities on a unit. Now you can choose between friendly orders or friendly tactics cards, and I think this is way more flexible. Especially it gives you a little bit of more tactical approach to them, a more an approach which is more flexible in terms of who are you facing, because you have factions out there like Martell is the premium example, where you might be even more afraid of the tactics cards than the orders. So yeah, I like the change.
yeah.
How do you feel about the honor guard?
Yeah, I agree. I think they just become situationally better.
Yeah.
And I also actually think it's kind of cool that now you can't get all of their ability. Like you can never get all five, right? You can only ever get four.
Yeah.
So I actually think that's cool too, where there's always something left on the table, whereas before you could max out, I
Could
have
max out
everything,
it.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I really like it. And yeah, I agree with what you said. And I think situationally they are a lot better now because now you can, you can dissect the situation. If you need both, you got both. But if you only need to shut orders down and you only need to shut tactics cards down, you can get your Sundering Vicious, whatever. Um, yeah, it's flexible and it's situationally better. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good change. I think this is the kind of change that maybe other units would have wanted to see, like sand skirmishers, stuff like that, like something that balances them better as opposed to just destroys them.
Yes, yeah, we
Yeah,
just had that in the Martell video. Yeah, that's a little bit sad to see, even though a lot of players were happy about
I
the
know a lot
change
of
because they
yeah,
were like everywhere and sometimes 2 and all that. So they needed a change, but yeah, obviously this one is better.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To close that on the honor guard, let me ask you the most important question on the honor guard. And for me, still over the last few years, I can say it's 50-50. Do you like the models or don't you like the models with the helmets? It's like
I've always liked them.
You
Yeah.
always like them. Okay, so you are
Yeah.
on that end, because there is a lot of people on this end. We're saying, oh man, they look so weird with these like
I can kind of see that, but I think the helmet, like the sculpt that they did on the the attachment, that helmet is like more of a realistic like helmet with a lion like helm on the top. Whereas,
yeah.
yeah, as opposed to like this is like the whole thing is supposed to be like a
Then
lion's
the
head.
visor is the lion. Yeah, the
Yeah,
lion. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say the main reason I like them is because they're so much easier to paint than having faces. So
Yes,
I always
I
like
give you
easy
that
to
one.
paint,
I give you that one.
sculpts. Yeah. The more armor and less little things and skin and stuff, the better for me. So I'm biased in that sense.
Okay. Cool. So take that ETF, leave it in the portfolio, don't touch it. So, but now let's talk about blue chip carry, something you didn't do before, or not often at least, but you should now. And we talked about it quite heavily on Rainbow Guard versus Kingsguard. Let's just say to kick things off here, they are probably better than the Rainbow Guard because of the Counter-Strike Disrupt combo. Banners are the same, obviously, because it's the Baratheon banners. Up to 16 wounds, they can get the banners back. Man, a really, really good unit now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also personally think I did play both the Rainbow and Kingsguard as my first 2 games of season 7, and I personally think Joffrey's attachment is better too, because I think the zone replace on the crown is super valuable for Lannisters, especially with Cersei
Some
now.
extra movement, yeah.
Yeah, getting the extra movement is a great ability. Having the zone replace on the crown when your priority is big on the crown now, because not only do we want it very much for everything, but more and more other people either don't want you to have it or want it themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that combination is very strong too. So I think, yeah, to me, there's no question that they are this, at least marginally, if not significantly better version of the Kingsguard. But yeah, they're really scary right now, and I think it's probably going to be the age of Joffrey until anything has changed. One interesting thing that a player in our community brought up, Chaos Muppet, he asked, "Hey, how does a turncloak work in these guys or the Rainbow Guard now? Am I getting for 1 point a 2-point wound?" And the general consensus seems to be yes. So that's
I don't know. I asked the team. There's always I asked around a bit, and it seems like you exchange the miniature, obviously. So you take one out. And you. Yeah, it's not really clear, but you put an extra wound on there or
like
something.
A wound token
that's what
this
I
is
heard.
a thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, so that needs to be addressed, obviously. That's a good one. So if Michael watches us or whoever, please, Michael Chanel, please put it in the comments down below, because we don't know. So we need answers. We need answers. Yeah, on the attachment, when we talk attachment, with the extra movement, and just one last comparison with the Rainbow Guard, why I also feel the Kingsguard is better than the Rainbow Guard is they gain Swift Strike with the Renly Commander, which actually is an okay ability, but normally the Rainbow Guard wants to go in and stay in and Relic Cry, heal the others. That's what they want. So the Swift Strike is a little bit, I mean, it could be really good situationally, but normally it's not what you want. So I also feel the Joffrey attachment is better than and more needed than the Renly attachment.
Yeah, I think Swift Strike actually has lost value with their overall improvement, because now they're a tank, and you definitely want them staying in the fight.
Yeah.
To get like that extra attack maybe off swords or something, instead of having a pull back and then have to reactivate on a charge, because they don't have any way to. Well, I guess they've got the overconfidence, so
overconfidence.
Yeah, they could, like, I guess, pull back and then play that. Yeah, fair enough. But we can also add that Joffrey's cards, they have overconfidence, but Joffrey has 2 of 3 cards that, while they might have a downside, they're actually really good cards.
Yeah.
They are. I am the king. Yeah. And sorry, it's very small on my screen. What's the
You will obey me.
other
You will obey me +2 attack dice and sundering.
Yeah. So that's like the card. Like, I feel a lot of the Joffrey lists are kind of built around that card, because you can just do an insane amount of damage with certain units, especially like Pyros, Lance Cav. But then the auto blocking 2 hits can be situationally such a good card. So yeah, his cards, in my opinion, aren't even bad. So really, he's somebody I've always played and I've always liked. Now, I've never been good with him, but I think that's
now you
about
will
to
be.
change.
Now you will be.
Because now they won't just melt. Yeah, because that was my problem. I'm an aggressive player, and I think they required a lot of finesse to get right, because they're so meltable. They're so vulnerable on 8 wounds. Especially where, like, oh, well, they've got a 4 panic, but then you roll a 3, or they vicious you or something, and you fail it. And then it's like, oh, wow, well, those 8 wounds melt real quick, So even with the resilience sometimes, because that could be turned off. And so, yeah, the 16 wounds is pretty crazy. Is it too much? I don't know. I guess we'll find out after some season 7 shenanigans.
Yeah, I had this one game with the Rainbow Guard the other like last weekend was a tournament, and I can tell you, I mean, it was a little dicey, I have to admit, like from me, and I didn't really roll well. And my Rainbow Guard got like wiped off the table, and he was also even able to kill the Jaqen enemy attachment on the Stark side, and was another, like, they also killed 3 wounds on my Rainbow Guard, right? And they depleted so quickly, so they are killable, let me tell you that. Sure. But again, it was a little dicey, but it's fine. It's fine.
But Rainbow Guard's a little more susceptible, because we've got the Counter-Strike Disrupt, which is making us a bit harder to hit, a little more defensible. So true. Now, who were you playing? Starks, you said?
Yeah, I played versus Starks, and he had the Jaqen enemy attachment, and he actually killed my Rainbow Guard with a unit of she-bears.
Really?
With precision and crit blow. They have crit blow, and he put the dancer in, the water dancer, and he had crit blow and precision. And again, it was a little dicey. I didn't roll well. He rolled well, but saying they were just gone, right? So it happened too fast for me to react. So yeah, that was bad.
That must have been a lot of 6s on his side, though.
Oh yes. 4 or 5, I guess. Yeah, it was devastating. But fun game though, and really nice opponent, and so all good.
Awesome. So yeah, I think overall, Joffrey and the Kingsguard is a huge win for Lannister, and I think we're going to see a lot of them now.
Hopefully. And the only like last comment on Rainbow Guard and Kingsguard. The only bad thing about Kingsguard, where Rainbow Guard is probably a little bit better from a painting perspective, because the Kingsguard is just white goldish, right? Everything the same. Rainbow Guard, you can really bring out the metallic colors now, and like. That from a painting perspective, that's probably the cooler unit to do. But
First unit I ever bought was the
Kingsguard.
The Kingsguard for Lannister, yeah. And at the time, I was actually leaning to be a Starks player, because in my heart I thought I was a Stark, but turned out I'm a Lannister.
Good thing that didn't happen. All right. So we talked about NCUs already. We spoiled Cersei a bit, but now before we go to Cersei, let's talk about some rebalancing. So
Yeah.
I will kick it off with Pycelle, and then you can talk about the elephant in the room, Tywin Lannister. So Pycelle stays at 4 points, receives an influence, has 3 order tokens. When he influences a unit, they go down 1 rank, which could be really helpful in terms of like Tully Calf or Calf in general. So some right that so that's good for 4 points.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
The 3 order tokens to when you remove one, he does what he always did. He makes someone weakened, and the only bad thing about Pycelle, the only thing is he might be a little bit overshadowed by other like NCUs now in your stock, and there's another influence on it. And we already, as Lannister players, you already have a great like roster of influence NCUs, so that's the thing. And lastly, Pycelle was always a great NCU to pick if you need an NCU to pass, because he was able to pass and still throw out a weekend, which was amazing. So that's gone. But I would say with the -1 rank, he's still a really good NCU for 4 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think he'll still find play, but yeah, the challenge just becomes now, do you want the extra weekend versus the guaranteed influence? Because Shay, if anything, maybe gained value that now that he can't activate and pass and still put the token out. So because with Shay you can usually get at least 4 tokens out in a full game. So yeah, I mean it's a good influence though, like for the most part. Like yeah, I mean, well there's not it is a good influence.
It's a good influence.
Especially situationally, it's really good, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's certain units like it's kind of like a mobile bribery for like I love bribing the outriders when I play Targs because it's like, haha, now you're shooting on 4s, right? And he'll just do that to them like
go to the bags, just go, please.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty nice now that like every round I can, if I know I'm up against certain lists, that I can just be like, okay, yeah, you're not you're shooting on 4 dice every time, or you're charging on your like again, this is a Targ example, but the screamers, you're hitting on 4. Sorry, like yeah. So
these are
and
great
anything
targets,
where there's a bad dice decay, he's a pretty strong influence now. But like you said, we got the High Sparrow, we have Cersei. So yeah, do we need another influence? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Not bad though. Yeah, not bad, but losing the activate, pass, and put the token out is kind of a mini nerf. But yeah, the influence is really good, so kind of balances out, I guess. But yeah, the big one, I guess, that can be
Big
seen
Daddy.
as the Lannister. Yeah, this is like the Lannister's big loss, but honestly, I'm actually pretty. I don't love where it ended up and for the points, but I am very happy it happened because it's really opened up list building again. And it's like, the crutch has been kicked out and it's time to start trying different things. So I'm excited about that part. But yeah, I guess to jump into what changed, I think most people know he was just this one big bomb where he could put out the vulnerable, the panicked, the 3 hits, and the panic test, and shut a unit's abilities off for the round. And he could target different people with all of this.
And start of any turn.
And start of any turn. And he was 1 point more. So now what he does is put out all 3 tokens and the 3 hits or the panic test on 1 unit, all on 1 unit, and it's 5 points. So my personal opinion on this is that for what is currently written on the card, I'd be probably happy in certain lists to pay 4, but I'm not going to pay 5 for this. And there's too many good 5-point options right now, like Walder and Tyrion and Kevin, or Kavan, who
whatever. Everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, who are gonna outshine this guy. So I just think for what they did to him, he should have dropped to 4. Kind of like I feel with Balon, where I feel like Balon probably should have dropped to 5 for the two changes made to him. Um,
Yeah.
but that's another
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. Nothing to add really. The only thing I would say is from an overall, when you take a step back and you take it the hobby overall or the game overall, and I see a lot of like competitive stuff, but I also see beginners and clubs and like intro days where we give intro matches and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really good for the game that Balon is gone and that Tywin is gone as well, because this is stuff you can't really handle as a beginner. It's even hard for competitive players to handle sometimes. So these 100%. Things should not exist in the game. I think it's totally fine if a 6 point does something like Eddard, like Tivin, like Balon. It like in general it's good, but not something like that where basically the turncoat is the turncoat can pop off at the start of any turn. You pop Tivin and you destroy at least one unit, like almost for sure. This is something, and you can't really do anything about it. Not really. And that's really hard for especially beginners. And we do not want like scare away beginners that love the game or like are hyped about the game, and they play their first 10 matches versus you with double pyros and Tivin 6 point units, 6 point NCU, and they just drop off the hobby and say, hey, let's go to whatever game, because this is just so frustrating, right? So we don't want that. So 100%. That's a good change.
I'll say I didn't embrace him for a long time, and it wasn't until I did that I started winning. So I'm excited to see if I can still win without him.
I'm sure you can. And it's always good if you have such an oppressive piece. Back in the day, it was Corrin Halfhand for the Night's Watch. That was also like dumb almost. And I at a certain point after like, I don't know, 4 or 5 games, I chose, because it was an influence back in the day. And the patch was somewhere around, and I was like, whatever time passes, I will go for Dennis Melister, because it's a great influence as well, and Corrin won't be around that long. So same for Tivin now. That's good change and highly needed change. But what's really exciting on the other hand is what happened to Cersei and Tyrion. Yes. So Cersei, as you said, we already talked about this. You play Kingsguard, you want the crown, you want the banner back, and all that kind of stuff. Cersei is basically like don't think about it. Go to crown, right? Go out, shut down orders, tactics cards, and and an attachment in a unit, which is amazing for 4 points. This is so good. So I don't want to say she's let me say it's an auto include. Yeah, it's at least really close to auto include.
Yeah.
So
for every list
she's
I've
just
played
amazing.
with, I've tried to not include her, and then it's always like, well, how do I justify this other 4 point over her, because that is too good. Like she's she might have warranted a point increase actually for this abilities combination, because she is
thought so too,
really good. And the fact that you can run Jaqen and have her twice in your list, like he's a whole other subject, and I know you've talked about him already many times, probably in every video, because he works for everyone,
almost every video.
He's like the new improved Varys. It's like third pick, Jaqen.
Because it's always good.
Even if I don't have something I want to copy myself, then you probably will, and if you don't, I do. Like, who am I kidding? I definitely have something I want to copy myself. So he's so good. So she's insanely good, and I think she's probably like the new Kevin the new Tywin, in the sense of like
Tywin.
You're gonna be building most lists around having her in it.
What I also
or you don't even have to think about one choice. Basically, she's 4 points. That are in the list.
She needs to be in there. And I mean it's cool. But what also really fuels her is the zones she needs to claim, because this directly also makes your deck better, and everyone knows, right? I mean, bribery and like all the cards are benefiting, or almost every card is benefiting from crown or bags. So
Exactly.
this is an auto include. Yeah, definitely. That's something you shouldn't think about. Yeah, but Tyrion, on the other hand, you need to think about.
Yeah, he's tricky
Because of
because
the
like
invest.
again,
Yeah.
the extra point and the fact that there are some, if you are gonna pick a 5 point, there's some really strong. I mean, again, Walder is just him and Jaqen are these two neutrals who are hard not to pick right now, I think, because of what they're bringing to the table. So if you have Jaqen, maybe you don't need Walder because you're just counting on your opponent maybe having him.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, in that 5 point realm, there's some good choices. Kevin really works in a lot of Lannister lists now, I think, with Tywin gone. But yeah, so what Tyrion now does is he still increases your hand size by 1. So you're gonna start with the 4 cards. You're always gonna draw an additional card now every time you draw cards, and then get to put 1 back. So if your first player as a Lannister, you will get to see 8 cards on round 1. Yeah. So and keep 6 of them. So
Almost half. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty strong for Lannisters because of how important our deck is to our play, and how important it is to have the right cards at the right. I mean, that's probably true of everybody, but Lannister in particular relies very heavily on their deck and their deck working. So having what you need when you need, and like already I see them in certain builds, like with the High Sparrow, because the High Sparrow's cards are things like you really want them when you need them. I think you're probably still maybe going for the attachment at one point for other lists where you're looking for like only 1 card,
One
like maybe with
specific card.
Joffrey or like Joffrey or the Mountain, like you're probably looking. But yeah, I can see him getting a lot of play, and at the very least, he's something to try because he just seems fun. Like getting to see that many cards at the start of the game is something I want to try and I want to do. So I'm pretty excited about him. It'll be interesting to see if he does have a home in like the more competitive list, but I think at the very least in the fun stuff, you'll see him a lot. I know he'll be in all mine.
Yeah, and the once per game is a good bonus, right? Once per game, you may look at your opponent's hand, just checking, right? Because think about counterplot, that once per game at the start of any round. Hey, let me check, right? I have my counterplot right here. I just need to check if you have it. That's also good.
And again, playing into the fun side and something new, right? So it's like that's that'll be very funny to like get to just see your opponent's hand for the round. So or at the start of the round. I'm excited to try him out. He seems really fun, and it is very strong, I think, for Lannisters. So it could have a home in competitive play.
Cool. All right. So what we are not so excited about is what the others got. So the others, unfortunately, the other factions got something too. So,
that's good. Now,
what do we need to think about? And let's make a check on the Savage Giant quickly, or Giants in particularly, everyone's scared. So
rightly so,
and we should be. So this is something you really need to be afraid of. I would say, especially the Savage Giant. I discussed that with Mickey, with Mazareth, and the Free Folk video. That might be a little bit over the top with the crit blow and stuff, right? I mean, these guys are so hard to kill, and crit blow vicious and all they do. So that's really strong. This is something you need to look out for, definitely. But there is other stuff. So what are you most afraid of these 4? I mean, there's definitely more, but What would you pick?
There's lots of stuff, but I think Lannister are just in a really good position overall to like we have a lot of the tools to deal with a lot of the stuff. I
Mhm.
think the Lightbringers are actually a bit of a concern, although we can build some pretty good morale lists, but like if you're building like non-elite lists, we're in some trouble with these guys. Like we don't generally like the panic stuff coming back on us too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
We don't deal with it as well. So that could be pretty scary if done right against us and with the right matchups. Um, the Thornwatch and the Rainbow Guard are just like, yeah, they're just really good units now. And
Yeah.
then when you add in the changes to the Riders of Highgarden and the Champions of the Stag, like Baratheon would normally be a faction that I'm like happy to see across the table, and now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
Used to.
I better
Mhm.
be ready for this. Yeah. Um, so I think it's great because I think it's gonna bring more balance and more competitive matches, you know,
Yeah.
between the factions. And yeah, but I do think at the same time, like especially with Giants, I'm having to build a list that's like
Yeah.
in
You need
competitive play,
something.
you know.
Yeah. You
You
need
need a
something
list
against them.
designed to deal with that. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Definitely. What also really frightens me is on the Stark side, is combinations where the bowman now with suppressive volley shut. Was it
Yeah.
suppressive? Well, the volley thing,
Yeah.
they shut your tactics cards and orders,
Yeah.
um, and
And a
then great
vulnerable, right?
X's go in where you only hold
Yeah.
on sixes, and they can add a crit blow if they want. So they go
Yeah.
in with crit blow, vicious, make you weakened, and everything. That's tough too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought right away too that they were actually a really nice combo with the Lance Cav too, right? Because they shut the stuff down, they put out the vulnerable, and you charge in.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, I think
Tough
they're a
stuff.
really good support. Yeah, I tried to play them many times in the past, and I actually think right now they're really cool, especially with their increased 775 attack profile and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, um, almost tempted to play some Starks, but nah,
Nah. Yeah,
nah.
I would say I've seen them. I've seen them now twice. I played against Bowman, and these 6 point Bowman are really good now because
Yeah,
they've never been really good, but now they are. They are at
yeah,
for me in a perfect spot. And they just throw out the vulnerable, right?
yeah,
When they use their order, that great unit for 6 points.
yeah. The
Um,
improvements are awesome,
yeah.
and the fact that the no line of sight is that's the thing I always loved. But now they're actually like a really good support unit. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're not talking Starks, so
We're not talking Starks, but
yeah,
good. But we're talking what if you see
we're
the
talking
Bowman and
song.
a great Axis unit or a Telecav,
Yeah,
be sure
be concerned.
yeah, play it safe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
There
So
goes my Lance Cav.
there go. Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. All right, so we brought two competitive lists. I will tee it off with the left one, and you can go ahead and talk Kingsguard now. So on the left side,
Yeah.
we have a Gregor Clegane list, which is highly mobile, quick, fast, right? Wants to go in, out, deal the +2, needs the or takes the price of failure, plays it, and does a lot of damage. Obviously, the Casterly Rock Honor Guard with Sandor Clegane basically gives you another really strong 7 point unit, which can also make use of Gregor Clegane's cards like the Assault Orders. So the Assault Orders, you don't know where it goes, if it goes to the Dervishes or the Honor Guard. That's a good one. The Lannister Crossbowman, always been a great 6 point crossbow unit or long range unit. Here with Tyrion, we talked about a little bit. You need the price of failure or the overrun, maybe. It really depends on what you need, but Tyrion makes sure you have the right card in your hand at the certain
Usually price
time.
of failure.
Usually price of failure, but yeah, that's that. And House Clegane Brigands with the Glory Seeker. House Clegane Brigands, an insane good finisher that is quick, that comes on the side, finish something off as soon as Gregor pinched in. These guys can just kill it down. The Glory Seeker is just like a life insurance, because when you see brigands across the table, a lot of opponents just start spamming Crown to weaken them early on in the game.
So, they can go down pretty quick on panic checks, unfortunately.
Yes.
So Glory Seeker is a nice little buff there,
Yeah, exactly. So also 2 turncoats to make sure the blow that Gregor or Sandor are dealing out are even heavier and are not interrupted by any stuff we don't want. Kevin Lannister also preps your units for a final blow, or for that kind of stuff. Even has a movement piece in there, which makes it harder for your opponent to forecast when it happens. Cersei, obviously, we talked about her, and Jaqen mostly as a, let's say, reactive thing. What does my opponent bring? Does he bring Walder? Does he bring something like Olenna? Does he bring Eddard, Catelyn Stark? Something nice I can make use of. That's why Jaqen is for. And I feel this list that's a good one. That's a good one to practice and see what it can do.
Yes. Solid list. My only note would be, and I get the mobility and that with the dervishes. I'm addicted to pyros, and I love Gregor with the pyros, and I think the pyros just like this might be their season, with some of the stuff you're facing out there. So, because it's good to keep in mind that Gregor with the pyros and Price of Failure is 9 auto wounds, which like. That's if you can't, and if you got the turncoats in there, like if you should have a one shot. You should have a one shot.
You should have one. If you didn't, then you did something wrong. Yeah.
They are very squishy though, because he has no way to help them, and this list has no way to help them. So I get they might not be the fit, because you got the mobility with the Stormcrow, where they can retreat and stuff. So I definitely see what's good here. I could also see Pyros having a home there in a slightly different version, but it's a cool list, something we're trying 100%.
Right.
And then we've got the Joffrey list. So this is one that I want to again shout out Nline, put this list together with me, and it's something he was kind of already playing in season 6. It's just so much better now because of the Kingsguard. And something he said to me when we chatted was like, like Tywin and some other commanders might still get a good amount of play. Like he really likes Tyrion. But are any of the other commanders better than what the Kingsguard is bringing now? And that's, it's tough. Yeah. Situationally, maybe, but like, overall the Kingsguard is just... It's the ultimate alpha unit at the moment, at least in our faction. So this
Gregor
list,
and
I think,
Joffrey,
is
I would say,
scary.
I would say so too. Yeah.
So super scary list. The idea being you got a lot of alpha strike potential. Tyrion's there to get you the +2 dice with the Sunder, although you don't really need the Sunder outside of the Kingsguard, I guess. And Kevin is there again for same kind of purpose as in the previous list, where he's setting up either that your alpha strike when you've got tokens on you, or let's say your pyros can be on 1 wound, and then swing with everything thanks to him, right? So he's a great utility piece for that one important moment.
Yes.
Tommen is there because he needs to be. Basically, it's him or Qyburn for Robert Strong. But given the power of the NCUs right now in the game and Jaqen and stuff, Tommen actually, I think, has a lot more value now too, because he's getting you the extra intrigue and subterfuges. And bribery is always good too.
Always good.
And then, we don't even need to talk Cersei anymore. Everyone gets it already at this point.
Everyone has it now.
And then the Turncloak is there for pretty much any list other than Giants because that's always great and that's always helps you get that kill through. So
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So scary list, something like that is probably gonna be close to, I think, the competitive meta right now for Kingsguard. We'll see.
we'll
Would
see.
be really excited to see suggestions and ideas for changes in the comments and stuff. I'll be looking. But yeah, I think it's something I'm definitely going to be playing with for sure. Pretty much that build, and then yeah, see where it goes.
Yeah. Cool, man. So now we have the two lists, but we have one more for the road to send you into season 7. And Chris, you can talk through your peculiar, special, your you have that list deep in your heart. It's one for the road.
Yeah.
These are the double pyros.
The double pyro high sparrow. So this is what won me the Canadian Open. It was 4 of my 5 games, this list. And the big difference is Tywin was in it, and I had the poor fellows instead of the halberdiers. Outside of the change for Tywin to Tyrion and the upgrade to halberdiers, it is the same list that I ran for the Great Canadian Open, and I think it just caught a lot of people off guard and by surprise. There was a lot of like really good players coming up to me at the start after seeing the game 1 and being like, double pyros, really? And yeah, the effectiveness was just that you're always able to, when you have 1 pyros, they can be very squishy and vulnerable. But when you have 2, you threaten people so much that they're almost too scared to engage you because they know if they come into 1 and don't one-shot them, which it's hard to do when you're always leading with the Robert Strong Resilience one, that you're coming right back at them with the other one. So it's a very effective, scary combo that I found anyways. And what I would love to do is I'd wait until I love going first. So then on round 2, I would try to end the round by marching them up into somebody's face. And then next round, I open with swords, I shoot you. You're probably so hurt from that you're not going to be able to do much back to me. And even if you do, you're either dealing with a horrific visage with the high sparrows, boost, or intimidating presence boost. Yeah,
and there will be a corpse pile, obviously, as well.
There's definitely corpse piles out, and then if not him, you're dealing with the resilience.
Yeah.
So it was super effective, and I just ripped through. It got to the point where the better opponents in the later rounds we were really dancing. It was tight games because they did not want to engage
in any way. Yeah. Gotcha.
So, and now with the era of giants that we find ourselves in, I think this list has even more value. And I'm excited to play with it because I've already reworked this a few times since I sent you this version. I've played with dropping Tyrion in order to get another 6-point unit in. I've played with the Lannisport for the precision. I've played with the brigands. I've played with the crossbows. I've played with the mountains men. There's a lot of little changes you could do to this one, I think. You could even go back to Poor Fellows and have 2 5-point NCUs. But I don't think you want to do that because I think Cersei has to stay and Tommen definitely has to stay. So yeah. Lot of little changes you could make to this, but I think that this list it's my favorite at the moment, and I think it's only gotten better for this season now. So it's exciting, yeah. Yeah.
Exciting, and I hate to see it in somehow, but I like it. Somehow I like it, somehow I don't. It depends on which side of the table you're on, but yeah, I will definitely try it at least once.
All right, now that the secret's out, I'm sure that there's good players who are just gonna
to build something against it now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot if you can get your hands on 2 sets of pyros.
Maybe
really
long range, right? There are long range, as you said. Lightbringers could be a problem. I mean, the morale is pretty okay.
The morale is pretty good, and high sparrows embolden helps.
Yeah, also, but that could be something. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't like if I'm looking at a list with multiple long range,
Yes.
which I think I mostly avoided in my matchups for that tournament. So
Which you might see on the Baratheon side, especially double Thornwatch,
yes,
double Lightring. It
yeah.
could happen in season 7. So
I, if
yeah.
I'm seeing that, I'm probably running my supremacy list with the double cav.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's not cool of you.
yeah.
All right, man. Was great. Great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that ends the Lannister 7 season 7 deep dive video. And yeah, we already talked. I send you a package with all the best regards from Hits and Crits for the Canadian Nationals. So
Yes,
we're highly excited about
I
this one.
appreciate
Do
that.
you want to? What's up? What's happening in Canada? Tell me.
So, yeah, so this July, the weekend of the 11th and 12th, in the nation's capital region here, Ottawa, Ontario, we are hosting the second Canadian Nationals major
Cool.
event. So tickets are on sale now. The poster's up on Stats. You can sign up for the event on Stats. It's like we went all out last year. We're doing that again this year. We got all kinds of mini games, raffles, prizes.
Awesome.
Um, uh, there's catered lunches included this time around. And yeah, like we just are really trying to encourage people to come. We got five guys. If anybody knows their Canadian geography, we are kind of like central towards the East Coast here in Ottawa. And we got five guys all the way out from BC, the far West Coast, who are coming in. So we're encouraging everybody because most of the community in Canada is I would say I know Alberta has a community there, but then there's a big community around like Toronto,
Mm.
Kitchener-Waterloo, London, Ontario, and then the Quebec scene is probably the biggest in Canada. So we're kind of central for those two major play groups. So we're trying to get everybody to come in like we did last year. Last year we set records with attendance at 40 players. We're hoping to break
Cool.
that.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's just it's going to be a really fun weekend, great community building, fun times. And one thing I do want to stress, this isn't for competitive players only. You don't have to be a great player. You could be a new player. Come out, have fun, meet the community. Everybody is super chill. And like
Yeah.
sometimes people think, oh, the Nationals, I'm not ready for that, or I don't take it seriously enough for that.
Yeah.
That's not our vibe. That's not our vibe. This is an open event. Come on out. You never know. It's a dice game. You never know.
You never know.
Um, yeah. So yeah. And again, we really
Cool.
appreciate your support. And
Always. Sure, man.
we're hoping we're also little shout out here. We're hoping to get some American players to come up north because Evil Morty stole the crown of the U.S.
Yes.
Nationals last year.
Steal it
So
back,
we're
guys.
encouraging,
Get it
yeah, we're
back.
encouraging you to come try to take ours. He's gonna be there. He's bought his ticket. We've got some other big name Canadian players who've bought their ticket
Cool.
already. So, yeah,
Cool.
anybody who's got that weekend in July free, come on down, have a great time with us.
Awesome. And we will do a video soon to promote the event a bit more.
Yeah, we'll go over all the
looking
details.
forward. Yeah, going over the
Yeah,
details. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, great. Thanks for being here, sharing all the insights. And I think
thanks for having
we
me.
will send all the Lannister players now out there, and especially with a lot of things you do, but especially with the pyros. Man, roll those crits, guys.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.